let the waterfall go from there. So it's wonderful to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out for the show. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no
And I would
problem.
love to begin with living through the pandemic. It's been 4 years. How did you get through it, and how did it subsequently change you?
Getting through it was, I have to say that I'm really good in a crisis. I probably am at my best
Yeah,
because I'm a person that has a lot of ideas and um, I'm kind of a glass half full person. So there's the good and the bad of it. I'll say that, Joe. So the good of it was amazing to see rivers in, Italy and Rome clearing up and mountains being able to be seen in the Himalaya. You know what I mean? There was
yeah,
just like, it was like the world took a breath.
yeah,
So that part of it I really loved. Um, the bad of it, of course, was people that couldn't cope,
yeah,
and that when you take a break like that, if you're a person like me, I'm a meditator and I'm that kind of person, you kind of just can go with the flow. But people that it really upended their world when they're not, weren't thinking kind of people, weren't reflective. We're in a society where people are just go, 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 not reflective. So it really was hard on some people. Personally, my son was to graduate high school that year and they didn't have an official graduation. So for people in his generation, it wasn't as bad on me because I'm old enough that I've lived through some things, but for people in his generation, it was devastating,
yeah,
devastating,
yeah,
to not have rites of passage, to be isolated. He started school. Now he's an introvert, so it kind of worked for him as far as starting college and everything. But having just weird, our society's is bad enough where kids are so digitally oriented, but to go the nth
yeah,
degree.
yeah,
So so that's some of the bad things. Personally, for me, as far as work, I work for a municipal government, so it was in the beginning, getting things orchestrated, having a lot of ideas. And, I love that part of it, of mobilizing and getting things, let's get things taken care of. We went back to work after 8 weeks. So we are in office and we have been since, you know, June of 2020. So it's not like we're working remote. We did some remote, but all remote has been gone for a couple of years. So that other good part of it is that the ability for people to work remote, which I think works for some people, for some industries. I loved that part of it.
yeah,
I loved working remote. And, I have a side hustle as a coach, and that is my coaching business is virtual and part of my speaking. So I love that aspect of it because I'm very attuned to that because I've been doing that. But, it was hard on people in the work environment. It was hard on business owners. I work with entrepreneurs and business owners. It's sad for me to see so many restaurants and so many small businesses never came back. They just
yeah.
never came back.
Yeah, for sure. So let me ask you this. There's so many things. You talk about the day gig. You're a TED speaker, you're an author, you're a holistic financial coach. But what I want to do is I want to boil all of this down to something that everybody can understand. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of third graders. It's career
Okay.
day. And one of the kids says, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer them?
Oh, that's great. Okay. For third graders, I, as a holistic financial coach, I help people create freedom around money.
Okay.
And so that they have enough money and financial freedom so that they can choose what they want to do in their life and live their dreams.
Yeah. Okay. They can understand that. So what did you want to be in the third grade?
Oh my gosh, in the third grade, that's a good question. You know, I don't know about that early on. I'm not sure I was thinking that. Maybe I wanted to be a dancer because I always wanted to. I didn't take dance lessons. We were a musical family, so dance was like the second tier. So I
Yeah.
ended up doing dance in college and that kind of thing. But I think I really wanted to be a dancer
Yeah.
as a third grader.
So tell me where you were born and raised and how all of the how you got into helping people in their financial pursuits and to be an author and
Yeah.
to speak and all these things. How did this happen?
So I grew up in a little town called Painesville, Ohio, which is up on Lake Erie.
Okay.
And I started early in the financial arena because I was a college prep student. I think they call it honor student or whatever now. And in junior high, I had a study hall, which I never had a study hall. And so I was so excited to have a study hall to go and hang out with my friends. And at the time, our assistant's principal said, "You're not going to a study hall. You need to take some other class." And I was like, "Seriously?" So she said, "Well, you take accounting." And I said, "What is that?" And she said, "Just take it. You'll love it. You can find out." And that was the beginning for me. I took an
Yeah.
accounting class. I fell in love with it. I went to college as a declared accounting major, which is kind of unusual, and came out working for an international Deloitte at the time, an international accounting firm. So, one of the things when I was a couple things from being an auditor, and then I became a CPA because that's just the track that you're on. Couple things. I always wanted to go into a company and create value. Now, auditors are the most hated people in the accounting profession because people think you're coming to spy
Yeah.
on them. And,
Hmm.
you know, I'm doing my nails at my desk. Are you going to tell somebody? No, I'm not interested in that. So for me, it was two things: to always be asked back,
Hmm.
so that people wanted you, and to provide value by not just going through their records, but providing something from a strategic perspective that could help them in their business. So
Yeah.
I always kind of had that thinking. And the second thing was, as a 21-year-old going in and having to tell CFOs and COOs and CEOs things that were wrong with their books was terrifying.
Yeah.
But it created for me, and it's to this day, truth to power. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are. If you're doing something wrong, if you're doing something that I know that will help you, I don't have a problem with working with people, which is very helpful because a lot of the people that I work with, whether they're executives or business owners, or even, I've worked with ministers, people at a higher level don't have that kind of counsel because
Yeah.
they're the top.
Yeah.
And so to have people that can give them an outside view, give them coaching, provide for them something that is valuable has been very helpful to me. So I go from being an auditor to then having jobs as a controller and, in financial systems. But the thing that flipped me over to working individually with people in coaching was my divorce.
Yeah.
So 5 years into my marriage, my husband came home and said he wanted a divorce. And so I had to, and I was like, it was out of the blue. And he was also somebody that managed the money, because just like the shoemaker and the doctor who doesn't want to come home and do the books because you're doing books all day, when he
Yeah.
did, I was like, great, I don't have to mess with it.
Yeah.
But I did something that a lot of people, and I write about it in my book, a lot of people do. They hand over their power, and people do it in their relationships, in their businesses, everything. They hand over feeling like they can trust people, and they don't stay involved. And so they hand over their financial power, and they don't have information, and they don't have involvement. So I had to rebuild my life financially and emotionally. And that's when I began to take a lot of self development in being in communities where I saw that people in my self development in church communities were struggling with money, living paycheck to paycheck in fear. And people in the financial world that had a lot of money were struggling with, we got to keep the money, we're in fear. It was the same dynamic. In no matter what, how much money people had, they had the same issues, fears, and problems about money.
Yeah.
So that's when I started, putting together what I currently do now. And then as far as going through my divorce, I saw how my attorney was helping so many women overcome what they were going through with their divorce. And I just had the thought, I'm having to rebuild my life financially. I wonder if other women need help.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So that's where it started.
That's where it happens. So tell me who a hero's been for you.
My hero. Oh my gosh. There's been probably so many mentor coaches, and um probably my biggest here. My dad started teaching me about money when I was really young. So my dad is always been my hero because he was somebody that was very courageous and taught me and my siblings so much about um commitment, responsibility, courage. When you say you're going to do something, do it. Integrity, one of the most integrous people I have ever known. So, definitely, um, definitely my dad for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And then, people that have stepped out on faith, people that have been up against insurmountable circumstances like President Obama and, women in history that have broken through barriers, and despite all of the issues, problems, and barriers that they've had, they've broken through. And but I love trailblazers,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
first to do something.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. For sure.
Yeah,
So let me ask you this. If you can meet anybody on the planet right now that you find fascinating or interesting, who would it be? Who would you love to meet and talk to?
I really would love to meet President Obama.
Yeah. So would I. I would love to be there too.
Personally, I just, first of all, I just think he's funny. I think he's, intelligent, funny, perceptive. I just think he would be really fun to talk to.
Absolutely he would. I have no doubt. Um,
Yeah.
I uh I have a good friend of mine that was running a couple of newspapers in Iowa in '08, and he got to interview him and meet him, and he loved him. So I've come within the Kevin Bacon 6 degrees, so
Oh,
I'm getting
yeah.
close.
My other person, I'm a sports fan, is Coach Prime.
Okay. Okay.
Deion Sanders, who
Yeah.
is breaking barriers, changing college football, so inspirational. I listen to a lot of what he talks about, and he just wrote a book because he is what I talk with people about, being a population of one on one, on one of one. There is no competition because
Yeah.
of your unique gifts, talents, skills, experiences. You are individual, you are unique.
Yeah.
And that's a big foundation of the work that I do, because there's so many cookie cutter financial programs and theories out there that I don't work like that,
Yeah.
because your learning style is different, your skills, your experience, your belief systems, your upbringing, all of that contributes. I can't give you a list of 10 actions to take
Right.
until we figure out what's,
Yeah.
it's got, customized for you. So Coach Prime is like that, and he encourages his players and people around him to be unapologetically yourself, and I
Uh-huh.
just love that.
That's the way to do it. Absolutely. So
Yeah.
what is your motivation every day to wake up, to do the work that you do, to help people and to evolve as a human? What is that for you?
I just think it's part of the human journey. I'm a person that believes that we're here for a reason that we don't really think we are. And part of our life journey is to figure out what that is. What is the purpose? What am I here for? What's the energy I'm bringing? I always want to be contributory. I always want to be making a difference for people. I am committed to people having transformation and awakening to their gifts, talents, and who they're here to be and to make a difference. Because you know what, Joe, if we all did that, can you imagine the world that we would have?
Yeah.
Because it's all positive and generative,
Yeah.
and not just, what's wrong with the world. Let's look at what's right, and let's focus on how we can all come together as community to help one another. So that's what I'm committed to. I'm number one committed to people having the power to choose. Freedom and choice are my highest values, and money is a very specific way of doing that. But people having a voice, people having a choice, and I'm committed to helping people uh, you know, um, trans transform all the beliefs and things that are holding them back from, to being the best that they can be.
Speaking of that transformation, what's one of your favorite client success stories?
Oh gosh, there's so many. Let's see. Oh my gosh. I think and I'll just do recent ones. There's been so many, but I think the recent ones are involving toxic money.
Yeah.
And toxic money is when you've had a money situation that has been where you've had to struggle or fight for money, and it involves a relationship. And those situations where people have broken free and had transformation, where they have, and just a couple of them have been in relationships where they've either gone through a divorce or shifted their life, and they've held on resentment, both sides. Either I'm resentful that I have to fight to get my money, or I'm resentful that I have to give the money.
Yeah.
And that has blocked them from creating wealth, from creating all kinds of things in their life. And when they have cleared that energy, whoa, it's kind of, it's like magic happens.
Yeah.
It's
For
like
sure.
that. And then recently I spoke with someone just on a consultation, and they came to the call, and they were stressed and worried. And when we started to go through some of the things that could happen, and some of the things they were working on, they like looked like different people.
Yeah.
They looked 10 years younger. I mean, it was relief and it was like hope and it was possibility. So, that's what happens to people. And people pay off debt and they, start new businesses and they create things in their life that they are excited about instead of struggling. They create retirement plans and they create funding and they create businesses and they get their finances in order, but we transform their life because money is a way in to transforming your life. It's just the vehicle that I use to help people.
So talk to me a little bit about what are you the proudest of? Everything you've done in your life, what are you the proudest of?
Um, I'm probably the proudest of my son, raising my son. I did
Yeah,
it as a single parent, and yeah, he's in college, but he just won his first writing award. He's a writer. I'm a speaker that writes. He
yeah,
is a writer.
yeah.
And he wants to be a comic book writer and he just won um a writing contest for his first comic story. And so I'm super excited about him and the kind of person that he's like he's he's 23 now. He's somebody I look up to because he's amazing. He's just everything he sees the world in such a positive way. And I don't take all the credit for that. He had, as being a single parent, he had amazing. My best friend was his caregiver, and he's so much like her. He's got the both of best worlds because I'm a realist to a certain extent, so he has that ability. But she's a silver lining person, and he always is looking for the best in people, the silver lining in every situation. And so, yeah, I just think he's amazing.
So everyone out there has a perception of you. Everyone sees you in a different light. Family, friends, clients, colleagues,
Yes.
but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Uh, who do I think I am? I, at my core and my heart, is somebody that just wants to help people. Um, and somebody that's empathetic and empathic. Yes, I am a realist and I will tell you the truth, but I really care about people and want to help people.
So if anyone out there wants to get your book, anyone wants to reach out, learn more about you, anything about your world, how can they do that?
They can go to estellegibson.com.
Excellent. Estelle, this has been wonderful. Thank you for your story. Thank you for your time. Best of luck with everything.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.